everyone! This video is based on a suggestion I got from Wintig24 a long time ago. It also won a poll recently, so that's why it's here today. Before we get into it, I just have to preface that this is an AU, meaning alternate universe. In this story there are no quirks, it's just like the real world except soulmates exist, and they also happen to live inside a city that's totally walled off from the rest of the world. Picture Divergent if you've seen it, or Attack on Titan without the Titans. I'll explain more as the story unfolds, so thank you for being here and I hope you enjoy. Izuku honey, come sit, I need to talk to you about something. What is it, mama? I'm sure you've heard about soulmates before? Of course, my friends talk about it sometimes, but I don't really know what it means. I'm sure your friends learned from their parents. I'm a little late to explain, I thought it would be too difficult without your father around. But I wanna know. I know sweetie, you'll learn all about it at school when you're older as well, but for now, I'll do my best. Inko smiled sweetly and little Izuku beamed up at her, curiosity twinkling in his eyes. On the last day of every year, all the 18-year-olds go to that big building up the hill to take a special test. Of course you're only 8, so you have a while to wait yet. What kinda test? Is it hard? No, you just go to sleep, and they watch your dreams. That's how they find out who your soulmate is. Oh, but what's a soulmate? It's your most special person, you only have one, and it'll be your perfect match to spend your life with. Really? Your father was my soulmate. But Papa isn't around anymore. No honey, he's not. Won't you get a new one? It doesn't work like that, sweetie. You only get one soulmate, but I'm okay, 'cause I've got you. I'm not your soulmate. Of course not, but I love you just as much. She giggled and held her son close, making the sweet little boy squeal and laugh with her. Mama, can I go play with Ka-chan? I wanna talk to him about soulmates. Sure honey, be back for dinner. Yup. The little boy wiggled out of his mother's grip and dashed to get his shoes and jacket on, pulling his walkie-talkie from his pocket as he left the house. Ka-chan, you gotta get to the hideout right now. A few moments passed before the crackled voice came back through his device. Why, are we under attack? Totally. The goblins are everywhere. Come and protect Sir Bounce a lot or we'll be fired. Alright geez, I've gotta sneak out without the old hag noticing. You'd better not die before I get there. Of course not, stupid, I'm strong enough. Stupid? Izuku giggled as he dashed through the woods behind his house, making it to his and Ka-chan's base in the trees and giddily waiting at the top for his best friend to arrive. Monsters beware, your doom has arrived. Ka-chan, help, I've been trapped by the king goblin. Never fear, weakling, for I am here to save you. The blonde boy hurriedly climbed up the ladder with his wooden sword in hand, instantly slicing up the imaginary evildoers who had cornered his freckled friend in their hideout. Thank you, Ka-chan, you really are the strongest of them all. Cha, of course I am. And you called me stupid. Hehe, sorry. Why did you call me out so suddenly anyway? 'Cause of the monsters. Nah, you never do that. I'm always the one who calls you out to play monsters. I wanted to play with you. Izuku smiled up at his best friend, and as Katsuki looked down at him the little boy felt his cheeks warming up, so he looked away in a huff of embarrassment. We play every day, you're making it sound different. Well I was wondering, has your mom told you about the soulmate thingy yet? Of course, my parents told me ages ago, but we have so long to wait so I don't care. But isn't it exciting? No, I don't wanna end up with someone I don't know, or like. He huffed, but Izuku only hummed and blushed, shyly playing with a loose thread on his jacket as he plucked up the courage to be honest. I want my soulmate to be you, Ka-chan. The moment Katsuki heard his confession, the poor boy was stunned into silence as his face turned the shade of a tomato, looking down at Izuku incredulously as he stuttered. How much did your mom tell you about soulmates? She said your soulmate is your most special person. Katsuki went quiet again, feeling his heart thumping in his chest at just how sweet Izuku was, but he knew he had to explain the boy's misunderstandings. Izuku, soulmates are like my mom and dad, they hold hands and kiss. Oh, well, I don't really want to do that with anyone, but if I had to then I'd choose you. Katsuki slowly sat down opposite his best friend. Both of them were blushing and speaking shyly. The blonde boy had never thought about this before, but I guess I'd choose you too. He looked away with a huff and Izuku giggled sweetly, before holding out his pinky finger with a giddy grin on his face. Let's make a pact, Ka-chan. What pact? Promise that we'll be soulmates. Katsuki's wide eyes looked down at Izuku's little freckled hand. and he felt butterflies in his stomach as he lifted his own finger to link them together. Okay, it's a promise. They spent the rest of the afternoon playing together. They even tested holding hands, and Izuku had never felt so happy. He'd never seen Katsuki grin so widely or laugh so sweetly. He wished the afternoon would last forever. But when they had to go home for dinner, he just told himself they'd see each other at school and play together tomorrow. Mom, I'm home. Hi Zuzu, did you have fun? How's Katsuki? So much fun, Mom. Ka-chan and I made a promise today. Guess what it was? I hope it was a promise to eat all your veggies from now on. No, Mom. Alright, what was it, sweetie? We promised we'd be soulmates. The little boy was so giddy, but his mother was instantly speechless, dropping the tray of food onto the ground in shock. Careful, Mom. What did you say? That I promised I'd be Ka-chan's soulmate. Inko reached out to grasp her son's arm tightly, looking frantically between his eyes as the boy reeled back in panic. Ow, Mom, you're hurting me. You're a boy, Izuku. Katsuki is a boy. Your soulmate will be a girl. Soulmates are only boys and girls. You have to get that thought out of your head immediately. What? Why? That's just the way it is, the way it's always been. No, I want Ka-chan to be my soulmate. Well, you don't get to choose. You'll be matched with a lovely girl and you'll be happy, okay? No? Izuku, you don't understand. If you say that to anyone, then we'll... She trailed off, and Izuku looked through the tears in his eyes to see how frightened his mother looked. He wanted to question her, but before he could, he was being dragged up the stairs to his bedroom. Stay here, I'm going to talk to Mitsuki. She shut him in his room, and Izuku cried, rushing over to his window to watch as his mother stormed across the road and knocked on the front door. He hurriedly pulled his walkie-talkie out to call Ka-chan in panic. Ka-chan? Ka-chan, answer please. What? Are you crying? My mom is at your house. She said we can't be soulmates, Ka-chan. What? Why not? Because we're both boys, we'll be matched with girls. No, that can't be true. Katsuki, what are you doing? Are you talking to him? Mom, but I... Izuku looked across the street as the walkie-talkie cut off, seeing his mom making her way back to their house and instantly diving into his bed to hide and cry under the covers. Izuku, sweetheart, I'm sorry. I hate you. Honey, I know you don't mean that. You have to understand, Izuku. But the poor boy only cried harder, crying until he fell asleep with tear stains down his face. The Bakugo family moved away after that. Izuku cried into his walkie-talkie for months, sitting in their treehouse all afternoon every day, missing his best friend. Until a few years had passed and he started middle school, only to see that familiar blonde hair walking through the hall to his classroom. Ka-chan was in his class again. Not that it mattered much based on how Bakugo reacted the first time Izuku tried to speak to him. He'd been so excited, only for it to be shattered as the blonde boy proceeded to act as though he had no idea who Izuku is. He lived out the rest of middle school alone. Cut this. Watching Katsuki from afar as he settled comfortably in with the popular kids of their class, who had soon decided lonely little Izuku was the perfect target for their entertainment. All Izuku could do was endure the way his insides burned with the heartbreaking betrayal every time he was picked on, seeing his childhood friend watch idly and let it happen. He hated school, and he hated home. He and his mother never fully reconciled after the incident. No matter how hard she tried to make Izuku understand, she still could never fully explain why things turned out the way they did, and he couldn't forgive her for that. He'd become a shell of his younger self, until finally middle school was over. He was heading into high school and leaving the bullies behind, a fresh slate. He almost felt hopeful. He knew that Bakugo was going to the same school as him, but at least the others had failed the exam to get in. Good morning, class. First days are always a little slow. It's the best time to get to know those around you. So for your first period today, I'm too tired to teach and teenagers need to form relationships, get chatting. Wah, really? We can just talk to everyone? And with that, the scruffy-looking teacher leant back in his chair and closed his eyes, leaving the students to excitedly look around. Izuku, on the other hand, was nervous. It was clear from the get-go that people were immediately forming groups with those they already knew, going around to introduce themselves to other groups. Only a few members of the class stayed unmoving in their seats. Katsuki was one of them. He hadn't even looked around the room yet. We should go talk to that guy over there. He looks lonely. He looks like he doesn't want to be bothered, honestly. Nonsense, come on. Izuku watched the three boys head in his direction, only they were clearly looking at the blonde boy who was sat in front of him. "Sup dude, I'm Kirishima, this is Kaminari and Siro, they went to the same middle school. The only person here who went to mine is Ashido-san, so I wanted to round up some guy friends." "Good for you." "Yeesh, cold reception out here. I told you man. Hey, it'll take time for everyone to open up. Is anyone here from your middle school?" Izuku held his breath as he tried not to watch the interaction so blatantly, but it was impossible to block his ears discreetly, so he had to listen and once again feel that stab of betrayal. "Nope. Man, that's kinda crazy. Not a single person? No wonder you're sat here not talking to anyone. Welp, if you wanna chat we'll be about." "Hey," the dude with freckles behind looks more approachable. The black-haired boy mumbled quietly, but Izuku heard, and felt his eyes flicking around nervously as he suddenly wished he was invisible. "Hey dude, what's your name?" "Midoriya." Midoriya Izuku. "I'm Kirishima and this is Kaminari-kun and Siro-kun, I heard already." "Right. Hey, are you alright?" "Oh my god, you guys, you're overwhelming him. You're like a pack of wild dogs, back up a little. Hey, we're just talking to him." Some people are nervous in these situations, you shouldn't surround people like that. "I get wanting to be left alone." "Hi. Whoa, your hair is cool, did you dye it like that?" "No, it's a birth defect." "Oh, awkward. It still looks sick." "Thanks. Sorry for being so awkward." "Don't apologize, you're good. I'm Yurika, it's nice to meet you." Midoriya. He's cute." "Cha. Nice to meet you all too." "I'm home." "Hi sweetie, how was your first day?" "Fine. Did you make any friends?" Actually, yeah I did." Inko watched her son smile. It was the first time she'd seen him genuinely smile in years, and all she could do was hum as he headed upstairs, before silently crying to herself in relief. Once Izuku was in his room, he pulled his phone from his pocket and opened up all his new contacts, already seeing messages from a few of them. "Thanks again for the pen today, can't believe I forgot all my pens on the first day. Embarrassing. Sorry for stressing you out at first man, hope we can be bros. If you ever need help studying, I have all my brother's old papers, just send a message. It was nice talking to you today." Open message with Todoroki-kun. "I feel like we'll get along great. I've never had many friends, so I hope you're right." "Me neither. I kinda wish we were sat closer in class." "You don't like your seat?" "I guess. I don't think anyone around me would want to work together." "Did you speak to that guy in front of you at all?" Apparently he was rude to Siro and the others. Izuku paused for a moment. Bakugo had already told people nobody was from the same middle school as him, so could he even mention to Todoroki that he knew him before today? No, but I guess he was acting a little standoffish with them. Best steer clear of him then, huh? Well, I dunno, could just be first day nerves, right? You think? You were nervous though, and that didn't make you rude. Everyone is different. We don't know what was going through his head. Todoroki didn't respond right away, and Izuku immediately panicked. Why was he out here subconsciously defending Bakugo when the boy had done nothing for him for years? "You're right, I was being too quick to judge, maybe I'll try talking to him myself tomorrow. Sorry if I sounded rude." "No, it's okay. I appreciate you making me realize what I was doing before I accidentally judged the guy too hard." "His name was Bakugo, right?" "Bakugo Katsuki, I think." "Alright, you should probably try talking to him as well, maybe he would like to work with you." "Oh sorry, I've got to go, dinner is ready." "Okay, see you tomorrow." He sighed and put his phone down, thinking back to what Todoroki had suggested and scoffing. "Ka-chan won't even acknowledge that he's known me his whole life, let alone want to chat and work with me. And it's all my fault, I can't even blame him, I've never blamed him, my stupid naivete is what brought this upon both of us." He felt his eyes starting to water as the guilt and regret ate away at him. No matter how many years passed, he got the feeling he would never get over losing Katsuki. The next morning, Izuku was uncharacteristically tired the next day. He had hardly slept due to his mind dwelling on the past, so as he trudged into school, the last thing he was expecting was to see Todoroki stood out front smiling at him. "Morning Midoriya." "Oh, good morning Todoroki-kun, what are you doing out here?" "Waiting for you, I thought we could walk in together." Izuku's eyes widened and he felt a little warm and fuzzy inside. It had been so long since he had a friend, he wasn't sure what to do. "Were you waiting long? Sorry I got up a little late this morning." "No, it's okay, I didn't even tell you I'd be here, so that's my fault. I've seen other people wait for their friends and I wanted to try it myself. Well thank you. He grinned giddily and Todoroki beamed right back, until his eyes flicked behind Izuku and he called out. Oh, Bakugo? Huh? I hope we can get along. Izuku's face dropped as he looked from Todoroki to Bakugo, who merely looked the poor boy up and down before glancing to Izuku with a scowl. He didn't reply, he simply put his earbud back in and kept walking, causing Todoroki to frown and face Izuku again. Whoa, did I say something wrong? Bakugo, wait up. They watched as Kirishima rushed up to him, slinging an arm over his shoulder as they walked into the building together, and Todoroki only frowned harder. What the heck did I do? It wasn't you, Todoroki-kun. Huh? What do you mean? God, I don't even know why I was defending him yesterday. I'm sorry I was being so weird. But you were totally valid though, I shouldn't have been judging him so fast. But now that you've associated yourself with me, he won't want anything to do with you. What's it got to do with you? Sigh, I wasn't being totally honest yesterday. He sighed and the two of them began making their way into the building, Todoroki listening intently. We've known each other a long time. I can't really explain much, but Ka-chan prefers to act like we don't know each other, which is fine, so please don't mention it to anyone else. What the hell? That's ridiculous. I'm sorry I can't explain why, but it's okay, I understand why he's like that. Well, no matter what happened, it doesn't give him the right to just be a dick to everyone. I'm sorry I got you involved, and that I ruined a potential relationship. Don't be silly, I would never want to be friends with someone who treats another person how he's been treating you. Izuku felt his chest squeeze at that. Part of him was happy to finally have someone looking out for him, to care about what he's feeling, but there was that nagging feeling inside him as well. Listening to Todoroki insult Bakugo, he instantly got the urge to defend him, to make out that Katsuki wasn't a bad guy and begged Todoroki not to judge him too harshly. There was still a part of him that prayed he and Ka-chan could go back to how they were. That was of course wishful thinking. As for the next years of high school, Bakugo continued avoiding Izuku whenever possible. They hardly spoke, and Izuku had become accustomed to simply staring at the back of his head in class. The only thing that kept a tiny spark of hope alive inside him was seeing how the blonde boy had grown into himself, getting more comfortable with the rest of the class, especially his little group of guy friends. Meanwhile, Izuku found himself getting closer to Todoroki, slotting into a little friend group of his own with the two of them, Yurika, Tsu and Ida. He'd almost accepted that he and Katsuki would just stay apart until school was over, and then never talk to each other again, until it was nearing the end of their last year, the year of the infamous test. I know this stuff has been drilled into you for years, even more so this year, so I won't waste your time with going over it again. But since your soulmate ceremony is 4 months away, I have to set you this project. Some of the class bustled with excitement while some others let out sighs and slumped in their seats. It had become clear that these days you were either someone who adored and excitedly anticipated the ceremony, or someone who couldn't wait to get it over with. Izuku wasn't sure exactly how he felt. All he'd known since he found out he would be matched with a girl was that it all felt wrong. You'll be in groups of 4 separated by gender, to conduct an in-depth research thesis on soulmates and create a presentation that includes your personal thoughts and wishes for each of your futures beyond the ceremony. Sensei? Yes? If the groups are 4 people of the same gender, how will the girl groups work? There's only 6 of us. A few of the groups will be mixed classes. I'm about to read them out. Oh, okay. Groups of 4. It would be great if I end up with Todoroki and Ida-kun. Maybe Aoyama would make a nice addition. I've always wondered how he felt about the soulmate stuff. Group 1, Ashido, Yoyorozu, Ajui and Kendo from Class B. Group 2, Siro, Ida, Kaminari and Shinso from Class B. Well, there goes Ida. Please sensei, group me with Todoroki-kun. Group 3, Midoriya, Kirishima, Todoroki and Bakugo. Izuku sat up in his seat, his heart dropping as he stared at the back of the blonde boy's head. He could see the way he had also tensed the moment his name was read. The freckled boy was instantly filled with dread and guilt. He'd always felt guilty for what happened between them. It was entirely his fault, and he knew he'd likely ruined Bakugo's relationship with his parents because of it. He knew Bakugo had plenty reason to hate him. He wished he could take it all back. But since his childhood friend had clearly drawn a line between them that Izuku was not allowed to cross, he figured he had to try something to show Bakugo that he respected that. Group 4. Wait, can I change groups? What? Please can I swap groups with someone else? The class turned to look at him in shock. Izuku was never one to speak out in class, and everyone knew he was practically best friends with Todoroki. They probably had no clue why he'd be asking this. I didn't make these groups. I assume you were put together like this for a good reason, so I'm not able to change that. But couldn't you at least ask? Midoriya, your group will not be changing. But sensei, I really don't think this is a good idea. We'll be fine. Izuku's heart jumped as Bakugo chimed in, and he was instantly speechless, his mind whirling with the revelation that the blonde boy clearly didn't care about being in the same group. Can I continue, or will I have to ask you to leave the classroom? Izuku couldn't form a response. He simply nodded and kept his head down quietly, his mind muffling the sounds of Aizawa reading out the rest of the groups as he instead wished more than ever that he could read Bakugo's thoughts. Just as Aizawa was saying something about making the most of the weekend, the final bell rang and everyone began packing away their things. Izuku was slow to start, so as he was standing up, Todoroki was already beside his desk. You alright? Hey you guys, I think it'd be good to catch the momentum and get started on our project right away. What do you say about coming to my place? Right now, I don't have any plans. That works for me. There's no way you expect me to take this shit that seriously. What do you mean, dude? This is like super major. We have months. I'm not caring until that's singular. Bakugo, it would be best to get started right away, even if we don't work on it every day. Start now to get a good idea of things. I agree. Of course you do. Come on man, stop sulking. Just think of it as coming over to my place to hang out. Whatever man. He sighed and slung his bag over his shoulder, briefly catching eyes with Izuku before heading out the classroom with the rest of them in tow. Kirishima happily led them all back to his place, blabbing the whole way about how exciting the project was and that he's glad he was grouped with his friends. Todoroki responded here and there, but Bakugo and Izuku were dead silent. Both of them were dreading the next 4 months. Welcome in? Just put your shoes down there and, Bakugo, could you take them to my room while I get some snacks and drinks? Bakugo didn't respond but simply began walking up the steps as Kirishima grinned and rushed off to the kitchen. Izuku looked to Todoroki nervously and the taller boy flashed him a reassuring smile. Hey, you're good, just remember that I'm here, this might be good for you both. He squeezed Izuku's shoulder and the freckled boy took a deep breath, nodding before they reluctantly followed after Bakugo up the stairs. They spotted him lying on Kirishima's bed, phone in hand and headphones in, clearly avoiding having to talk to either of the boys who hesitantly entered the room and sat themselves on the floor. So you haven't been here before either? Nope, I've only ever been to your place and Ciro's a couple times. You've been to Ciro's house? Remember we were paired for that history project last year? Oh yeah, I haven't spoken to Ciro much. It's kinda crazy how little I know about some of my classmates. Why does it matter? You're not going to see them after we leave school anyway. You can hear us? Are you even listening to anything in those headphones, or do you just like to snoop? Cha, the song was changing, asshole. Shouldn't you come and sit here anyway? I already said I'm not taking this seriously. Sorry I took long. Hope you didn't start without me? Kirishima came barging in with a tray of canned drinks and bowls of snacks. He placed it in the middle of the room and sat down beside Izuku. We were just telling Bakugo to get down here. Come on dude, we're only gonna chat. It'll be fun. Your idea of fun baffles me. He sighed before begrudgingly sliding off the bed to sit between Todoroki and Kirishima, not lifting his head to meet Izuku's eyes that were locked onto him. He couldn't look away. He hadn't been face to face with Bakugo since they were kids. He'd gotten so used to just staring at the back of his head. Alright, I feel like the first thing we should do is just say how we feel about the ceremony. I can start if you want. That sounds good. Okay, well, I'm sure you probably already know, but I'm super excited about it. Ever since my parents first told me about soulmates, I really felt like my life had meaning, you know? Like even if I had doubts growing up, thinking I wasn't good enough or I couldn't succeed in what I was doing, all I had to remember was that once I hit 18 I'll be matched with that perfect person, the only one for me, someone who will support me when I'm struggling and succeeding, someone who will love me for me. I can't wait to be that close with someone. Oh, that's actually really sweet. I've never thought about it like that. You're not telling them everything, dude. Oh, right. I guess the thing that helps me visualize it a lot is that I really have this gut feeling that my soulmate is Mina. He's obsessed. Ashido-san? But, you know you don't get to choose, right? He mumbled and Bakugo immediately looked up at him. They made eye contact and Izuku had to look away as his heart jumped in his chest. I know, I'm trying not to get too set on the idea, but I swear I've just always had this feeling inside me. We went to the same middle school, you know? We've always been pretty close and we seem to mesh so well together. I know she might not be my soulmate, and I have faith in the test. Whoever it ends up being, I know I'll be happy. I'm not trying to discredit your beliefs, but personally I struggle to agree. With what? That you'll be happy no matter who it is. Isn't that the whole point of having a soulmate? She'll be my perfect person no matter who she is. Well, my parents are supposedly soulmates, but they don't even live together anymore. They used to fight all the time. My mom ended up in a mental health facility after everything my father put her through, so I've never been much of a believer. Izuku instinctively brought a hand up to gently squeeze Todoroki's shoulder in support. He'd known about his family situation since their first year, but he knew that Todoroki hadn't told anyone else. I've never heard of that happening. I'm sorry, man. I mean, even if people are supposedly a perfect match, I'm sure they all fight sometimes. We're all human and get carried away with our emotions. Izuku couldn't help but look back to Bakugo. Had they just gotten carried away? Maybe they could still be fine? But as he looked directly into the boy's crimson eyes that happened to already be staring right back at him, he felt his cheeks heating up as his heart raced, noticing how Bakugo's cheeks flushed pink as well, and he knew those emotions he'd felt as a kid still weren't going away. Not that I'm defending your dad or anything, he must have taken it way too far. How someone could do such a thing to their soulmate is lost on me. Yeah, I guess I just don't really care who I end up with. Whatever's gonna happen will happen. I won't let my life revolve around it. I don't give a shit about the tests. Never have. The ceremony is closer now. You should probably care at least a little. You're not a kid anymore. Who said you get to have a say in how I feel? I'm not. I'm just saying there must be part of you that cares about what will happen. It's literally about to change your whole life. And we've known about it for forever. Caring or not caring won't make a difference. Not like we can change our results at all, so worrying is pointless. Some of us can't help but worry. Well, that's not my problem. Yeesh, what's with the tension between you two? You didn't know? Know what? Todoroki-kun, just drop it. No, if we're going to be stuck working together for months, then Bakugo needs to accept reality. What does he mean by that? The fact that Midoriya told me they were friends, best friends when they were younger. Then Bakugo decided he was better off friends with a bunch of assholes who bullied Midoriya all through middle school, like a coward? That's not. Not to mention how you had the opportunity to make amends when you started high school, but instead you thought the smart decision was to pretend you didn't even know who he was? Bakugo, is that true? You knew Midoriya before? That's how it is, Hazu? Tell him your life story but hide the most important detail? Make it sound like I'm just some fucking asshole who ditched you for no reason? No, Ka-chan, I told Todoroki you never picked on me. I said I couldn't tell him everything. I swear I never thought it was your fault. I never said that. Midoriya, you can't just let him play the victim like that. Well, hang on, if we're missing information, then how can you say he's not the victim? There is no fucking victim, it's just the way it is. It's not his fault either. Izuku felt his eyes welling with tears. He could hardly even process the way they'd called each other by their old nicknames, as he was much too focused on Bakugo shifting the blame off of him. He doesn't blame me, but it was clearly me who first suggested we make the promise. Then if things between you are all in the past, and nobody is to blame, why are you still ignoring him, still acting like an asshole whenever he's around? Because I can't get close to him again. We can't be friends. That doesn't make any sense. That's you being silly now, dude, come on. He's right. We should just be civil for this project and stay the way we have been. The words burned coming out of his mouth. Izuku wanted nothing more than to just hug it out and get close with Bakugo again, texting every day, calling even, being able to hear his voice without the snarky undertone, hearing him laugh again, seeing him smile. But he knew he would just get carried away again, so this was for the best. But we can't work together in this atmosphere. You're the one who cares about this project. I don't, but I promise I won't be a dick, alright? Me too. I promise I'll try my best to not be awkward about it. It's okay, it's just a school project. We'll be fine. Ugh, anyway, how about we just move on from all that now? We should just figure out when we're next all free to take a trip to the library for research. The library? You've got to be kidding. The other three began debating over the proposed research trip. but Izuku still couldn't quite move on from the previous topic. Even if he says he doesn't blame me, I know it was my fault. I can't let him allow me to forget that. That's the only thing that made this all make sense. Of course it's my fault and of course he has a right to avoid me for it. But, if he never blamed me, why does he hate me? Midoriya, what do you think? Sorry I was totally spaced out. Oh, that's okay. We were thinking of going to the library tomorrow, since Sensei did say to make the most of the weekend. And I think that's stupid because we have months for this project, so why the hell are we trying to work on it already? Well, we technically don't all have to go, right? You're saying Bakugo is allowed to just slack off? If he doesn't want to work on the project right now, then he can just do more work later. We can get started on it how we want to and he can finish it off how he wants to? I dunno, just a suggestion. Don't suggest something like that because you pity me, nerd. What? It's not that I just want everyone to be happy. Well, I won't be happy unless we're all putting equal effort in. I do think that would be for the best. I just wanted Ka-chan to be comfortable. Why do you call him that, Ka-chan? Oh, it's just a stupid childhood nickname. But I'm assuming it's based on your first name, Katsuki, plus the chan suffix? Isn't that weird to use, for a guy? Why would it be weird? I dunno, just cause it's more of an affectionate way of calling someone, you know, mostly for cute girls. But Bakugo was a very close friend of mine, it came naturally, but I should try to stop. Nobody asked you to do that, Zu. Izuku's eyes widened as he looked at Katsuki's scowling face, turned to the side with rosy cheeks. He didn't want the nicknames to stop. You're ridiculous, Bakugo, calling him pet names and expecting him to do the same as if you're best buds, after ignoring him for like, oh I dunno, a decade. Can you get your fucking nose out of my business, Please stop fighting. Todoroki-kun, I know you're just looking out for me and you know I appreciate you, I really do. But Ka-chan and I can handle ourselves, okay? I promise I'm alright. I'll tell you if I'm not. He looked into his best friend's eyes pleadingly, and Todoroki felt a pang of guilt. He couldn't help getting so protective, but he knew he was likely only making things worse, so he sighed and nodded. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, I'll stay out of it. Am I the only one here without any grievances with anyone else? Of course, 'cause you get along with everyone, Mr. Ray of Sunshine. You'll just have to keep an eye on all of us, Kirishima-kun. Great, I'm a mother of 3. A mother who's taking his kids to the library tomorrow, right everyone? Todoroki looked to Bakugo expectantly and the blonde boy didn't even try to hold back his groan of annoyance, before sighing with a roll of his eyes. Whatever, I'll be there. The group spent the next few weeks taking regular trips to Kirishima's house and the library, reading all about the evolution of the testing procedure and studying how the results were collected. Bakugo spent most of his time hiding in the corner away from the others to nap without getting accused of slacking. Izuku of course spotted him many times, allowing himself to get distracted by the sweet image of his childhood friend's peaceful face. Until on one particular trip Izuku had come to the library with a specific goal in mind. He'd done some searching on his computer at home and was interested in a book he hadn't seen on the shelves. So he'd headed straight over to the front desk to ask an employee. I saw it on this website. Do you know if you have it here? If it's not in the soulmate section then it's probably in the back. Come with me. He mumbled and led Izuku to the staff door, unlocking it and stepping aside for the freckled boy to peer in. I shouldn't really do this, but I don't get paid enough to worry about this shit. Plus you're kinda cute, so you can look around, just don't mess things up too much. Oh, well thanks. No problem, name's Hotaru by the way. He blushed as the employee flashed him a smile before heading back to the front desk, leaving Izuku to brush himself off and head inside to search through the stacks of books, until Todoroki noticed he was gone and came looking for him. Midoriya, this is staff only. I know, the guy who works here said I could look for the book I want. I can't find it though. Have you checked these boxes? They're clearly labeled restricted, Todoroki-kun. You're already in a restricted area anyway, what's the difference? We should probably ask first, but if the book you want is in there and they say you can't look, then you don't get the book. Ka-chan, you're awake? I saw this idiot come in here and thought he was doing some shady shit. I was kinda right. But you agree that we should do the shady shit. Duh, what book are you looking for anyway? Bakugo huffed and opened the restricted box, shuffling through a bunch of old manuscripts and files as Izuku moved aside with a nervous gulp. The website I found was really strange. It gave me a weird feeling. but the book seems to be a super old diary of sorts from someone who took the test decades ago, maybe even over a century at this point. The website said it was here, but I dunno. A diary? At the library? That's not usually. You mean this diary? Bakugo pulled out an old tattered book from the box and Izuku's eyes widened, instantly reaching forward to take it and open the first page. Yes, this is it. Whoa, I kind of wasn't actually expecting to find it. Thanks, Ka-chan. He grinned widely, not looking up from the pages of the book, therefore missing the way the blonde boy's cheeks gained a light dusting of pink as he watched Izuku reading giddily. What does it say? Todoroki crouched beside the freckled boy and looked over his shoulder, snapping Bakugo out of his staring as he instead scowled at their close proximity. Holy shit, I think this person was banished. Banished? You should put it back. Hang on, how do you know? I mean, they literally said it. If you're reading this, then everything went right. To my friends in the city, I thank you for getting this book where it needed to be, and to whomever it concerns, I thank you for finding and reading it. Holy shit, Zu, you've gotta put that back. Why? Clearly we found something important. Do you want us to get banished? Nobody will find out, Ka-chan. I'll just tell the guy I couldn't find what I was looking for and we can get out of here. What are you guys doing in here? Midoriya found a crazy ancient relic. Wait, I just found a box of old books, but not what I wanted, so we can probably call it a day today. Bakugo and Todoroki looked to Izuku with questioning frowns, making Kirishima look between them all in confusion. Is everything alright? Don't worry, we weren't fighting. Izuku giggled and stood up, subtly sliding the diary inside his jacket before heading out the room. Am I overthinking, or is he being weird? Isn't he always weird? Bakugo blurted before letting his brain catch up to what he was doing. He was helping Izuku keep the diary secret from his best friend, and he didn't even know why. Probably overthinking a little, but hey, we've done a lot of research trips lately. My brain is a little fried too. Kirishima shrugged with a hesitant laugh, not fully understanding the situation but trying his best to brush it off as the three of them left the staff area to see Izuku speaking to the employee. Man, sorry you couldn't find it. It's okay, thanks again for letting me look, Hotaru-kun. You're welcome. So I was just wondering, could I maybe get your number? For what purpose exactly? I guess, if you have any more book questions, or just to chat? What the fuck are you hoping to gain, huh? Bakugo's voice was gruff and accusatory from behind Izuku, and poor Hotaru stood up straighter with wide eyes at the question. Sorry man, I just think he's cute. And, he's a boy, what are you getting at? Geez, like I know nothing can come of it, but is it so damn wrong to wanna flirt with a cute guy a little? You were flirting with me? Fuck, please don't report me, I'm not against the ceremony or anything, I swear. I shouldn't have said anything. We aren't going to report you, don't worry, I get what you mean. Midoriya is cute. You know you'll be matched with a girl, right? Yes, of course. That's fine. Just forget I said anything. We should leave. We were about to anyway, but wait, thank you. Don't thank him, he could have gotten you in a shitload of trouble. No, I want to thank him. I don't get compliments or anything like that, so it felt nice. Thank you, Hotaru-kun. You're welcome, and sorry. The poor guy looked away in embarrassment as Bakugo continued to glare daggers at him, until the group finally turned and headed out the library. We won't be going back there again. Geez man, he didn't even do anything wrong. He openly admitted he was flirting with Midoriya. You know that can get someone banished. It's so stupid. Stop saying shit like that. But it is. What if I also thought he was cute, huh? What if I wanted to flirt back? What would be so bad about that? Can you shut up while we're out in the open? Do you want to get banished? Maybe it would be better than being in this fucked up place. Midoriya, if you keep talking like that, I don't want to, but I'm worried I'll have to report you, for my own safety. If you're caught thinking like that and they find out I knew and didn't say anything, I can't let you ruin my life. The group fell silent and Kirishima nervously ran a hand through his hair. Izuku instantly felt guilty and looked around to see if anyone was nearby who could have heard their conversation. But luckily it was getting dark, the crisp winter air making the streets more barren than usual, and they were entirely alone. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna head home. Maybe we should take a break from the project for a little while. Yeah, we all just need some time to think. Kirishima headed away from the group and Bakugo watched him leave, feeling conflicted. He'd always agreed with the redhead. Not questioning the ceremony after his parents drilled it into him as a kid, they made him terrified at the idea of being banished from the city. But knowing how he felt deep down, hearing Izuku have the confidence to say it all out loud, and even knowing Todoroki was right there to support his beliefs, he was falling down a slippery slope back to how he was before the two of them were separated. I can't. What? Sigh. No matter how you feel, Zu, you know you can't change the world. Please, don't be stupid. His voice was so sincere, and Izuku felt his heart thumping in his chest as they looked into one another's eyes. The freckled boy didn't know if he was delusional or if Katsuki actually seemed worried about him. Scared of losing him, perhaps. I know, I'm sorry, I'll keep it to myself. And be careful with that book. I understand now why you hid it from Kirishima. I appreciate that. He would have only had even more to worry about. Ka-chan? I know it might seem weird to ask right after what just happened in there. I promise I'm not trying to be weird, but could I? Spit it out, Zu. Could I have your number? It's just, we've been doing this project for almost a month now, and every time we have to meet up I can't ask you directly, I have to ask Kirishima to ask you, and it's sure. Izuku's wide eyes sparkled up at the blonde boy, who merely got his phone out of his pocket with a subtle tilt of his head, making Izuku blink and fumble with his own phone, shakily typing down Katsuki's number as he read it out. Well, I'm gonna head home now too, before the old hag starts spamming me with calls. Thank you, Ka-chan. I promise I won't text a lot or be annoying. Bakugo merely nodded as he headed off in the direction of his house, leaving Izuku to wait until he was far enough away before letting out a massive sigh in relief and slide down the wall to sit on the concrete. I'm happy for you. I really never thought I'd be able to have an actual conversation with him ever again. He cares a lot about you, just has a real shit way of showing it. If you were as close as you always say you once were, that doesn't just disappear, Midoriya. If you keep this up, I'm sure you'll be on good terms again in no time. I'm rooting for you. Ugh, I dunno what I'd do without you. Izuku huffed and dragged Todoroki down for a tight squeezy hug, making him laugh and hug right back. You know, I still can't believe that guy was flirting with me. I mean, despite what the test has always said, I think it's pretty easy for a guy to find another guy attractive, and I'm sure it's the same for girls too. Don't even get me started on how sometimes I feel, I dunno. No, continue, you can talk to me. Don't you ever feel like the whole boy and girl thing is just so forced? Like, what makes me a boy? Why am I different from the girls? Well, that's just basic biology, Todoroki-kun. I mean, we have, you know. Midoriya, I know that, but I just don't get the point of this big separation. Sometimes I honestly wish I didn't have a stupid penis. What if I just had nothing at all? Then what would I be? Just a person? Aren't we all just people? I think this is too advanced to wrap my head around. Sorry, I'm just spouting nonsense at this point. No, it's not nonsense. Just because I don't understand it doesn't mean you aren't valid in thinking that way. I mean, I never even liked girls really, but it's not because they have different, private parts. God, this is awkward. You're right. But we're never allowed to talk about stuff like that. Well, you can talk to me about it, alright? I've always wanted to. I always thought you'd understand and wouldn't judge me, but it's scary, you know? Trust me, I know. I've felt the same. I'm glad we know we can completely trust each other now though, right? Todoroki smiled at him and Izuku felt his eyes sparkling with tears, and one thought immediately flashed through his mind. Todoroki-kun, if I can really trust you completely, can I tell you what actually happened between Ka-chan and I when we were kids? Oh, of course you can. Izuku took a deep breath before beginning to retell the events that happened when he was merely 8 years old, smiling fondly at certain memories and scowling at others. Todoroki didn't say a word, his face softening as he kept listening intently, watching Izuku with a mix of warmth and pity. Once they moved away, that was it. We've never even spoken about it since then. That's awful, Midoriya. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. But it is though. It's not your fault you feel that way for Bakugo. You can't help that at all. Izuku had never been told that before, and the moment he wrapped his head around it, it broke him. He began sobbing, burying his face into Todoroki's chest as he cried out everything he'd been holding in for years. Why do I love him, Todoroki-kun? Why am I a boy? Why can't boys love boys? But Todoroki didn't have a single answer. so all he could do was rub Isuku's back soothingly, holding him close in hopes that it would be enough comfort as they sat together on the cold hard concrete. He couldn't even tell Isuka that everything would be okay, neither of them knew that. All they knew was that in just a couple months, they'd each be matched with a girl, potentially one they've never even met, and expected to start a new life together. Don't give up hope, Midoriya. I mean, you found the diary, right? Maybe it'll help. Let's not give up yet, okay? Yeah, I guess. I don't want you to catch a cold. Let me walk you home, come on. He helped Isuku off the ground and they made the slow, quiet journey back to his house. Don't worry about the diary tonight. Try and get some sleep. Then maybe we can meet up tomorrow and read it together? Thank you, Todoroki-kun. I promise I won't give up hope. Good. End of part 1. I really struggled with this one, LMAO. You don't want to know how many times I rewrote different parts of this, over and over and over. I like how it turned out though. This was a good setup for what's to come. I just hope enough of you enjoyed it and want to keep watching where it goes. I'm going to make a promise that part 2 will be posted no more than 2 weeks after this one. I doubt it'll be done in a week, maybe, but try not to get your hopes up. Either way, make sure you come back on Friday at 10 p.m. UK time. I dunno what that is in every other time zone, but that's always when I upload so you can convert it. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys.